Hello and welcome to another episode of Dark Discussions. In Milan today, for Milan Design Week, I am joined by Yabu and Pushelberg. Hello.
It's
nice
good to be here and have this little chat.
So the first time I met you guys was last year at Euroluci when you were new additions to the Lasfit Miles.
Miles. Okay, I was worrying about, I love Miles, but I did Cypher first. And but then Miles became a quick close cousin to Cypher, so I love them both dearly, and they're both doing very, very well.
And now we're talking about moonbeams.
Moonbeams. Oh.
Glow, actually, Glenn.
Moon glow.
Oh no!
It's all right. Because we started
Totally
it as
different things.
Moonbeam, but it sort of glows around. So it's a softer sounding name. So we changed it to Moonglow.
Cool. But your first introduction to darc, you was actually on the cover with the pinky ring, if you remember,
yes.
with a very famous
We were
pop
thrilled.
star. Can you tell us a little bit about before we go into
I
the...
have a little quick story
I'd love
about
that.
Bruno. Bruno very channeling the 60s in a supper club with him, and I usually go to the meetings, and Bruno's a star, right? So I couldn't go to Vegas, so George went in my place once, and George is very direct. No, Bruno, no. That's not good. That's not good taste, Bruno. No. Very straightforward. And George talks with his body as well as face. Anyway, 2 weeks later, I go down for a follow-up meeting with Bruno, and he does the exact imitation of George Yabu. No, Bruno. He's a treat. And we have another project with Bruno coming up. Yeah, another
Can you
pinky ring
share?
somewhere
Or
else.
is it secret?
Secret.
Top secret.
We'll see.
Well, so the Pinky Ring is in Las Vegas, which is theatrical, immersive,
Exactly.
very different to Milan, which is more about tradition, elegance,
Historical
the architecture, the food.
The depth of our culture.
So what is it about Milan that has inspired you over the years, and how is that shown in your work?
No, just simply, it's the epicenter of the design right now. I think it's probably, I would say, the most important, design fair.
Sure.
And everybody comes here, so you just feed off the energy.
It has history, as Italy does, but it also has modernity, and of course has deep design culture. So there's something about being embraced as designers about newness as well as looking at tradition.
And I have to say one more thing, that before, when we first came, a number of years ago, and being not participating to the level that we are lucky to participate today, it was a bit more, let's say, no pun intended, a little dark and gray.
And now there's light.
And now there's a more, but now, you open your eyes, the locals, and they see a bigger world up there, and you can see it reflected in the offerings. Offerings not in terms of design from around the world. It was very Milan-centric at that time. Even, I adore Italian food, but it's nice to have a variety that you'd never seen before. So the Mese became more exposed to a more international point of view and embraced it quickly, and here we are. It's much more exciting now. More people are coming around the world. I remember a time where it was hard to find sushi in Milan
Now
until
it's
Mr.
everywhere.
Armani introduced it and made it shine and brought it to. I was going to do another joke. Intended brought it to. I wasn't not going to say brought it to the forefront.
Georgie, I do the dad jokes,
I know,
but you're
I
exchanging
know,
things
that's
today.
true. I don't know what happened.
Should we talk about Moorgen's? Do you want to talk about Moorgen?
I was going to say let's move on to the nitty gritty why we're here today. So let's start off. What's it like launching in Milan? Seeing as we're on the topic of Milan.
Launching Moorgen?
Here.
Yeah, what's interesting. So Moorgen is a really interesting company coming from China. It's amazing how China is stepping it up in terms of design, not just quality of making, but the thinking behind design. This company Moorgen's, we started designing controls for them last year, channeling a little bit of Dieter Rams, but with modernity. And this year we're presenting table lamps, moonbeam, and outdoor.
And there's something romantic about over the centuries. This has a sensibility of China in Asia. And with the invention of electricity and artificial illumination, it kind of lost a sense of quality. when the light bulb was invented, I would say it's almost an intrusion in our lives because it wasn't focused. It was just a practical need to find your way.
The good old days.
And so now back to, with technology now, with the efficiencies of LED, we can bring back that romance of light, how it glows, or if you aim a light at a surface, it paints the surface. And so we're looking at the charm and the soul of light beyond its practicality.
And I think that with this guy, of course it has a feeling of being Chinese, but it also has a feeling of being worldly, which is nice in a romantic, as George says, in a romantic way. And there's a friendliness and happiness to this lamp, the color, the glow.
The simple form. Just a double-lit outside cast glass and the source of light, LED in its core, but if you look at the full moon, it's not just a flat, perfect disk. You can see, if you look carefully, especially in a telescope, you can see the craters and the terrain in there, and that's sort of a representation of that. And we wanted to have that handcrafted quality that people don't think about today in terms of manufacturing a product like this. There's a very strong need for LED lighting, but then all of them are sort of like perfunctory, lampshade, right? But this is a romantic quality, even the tactile feel, it's hammered feel to it. We have a rod, but we attached it to a hexagonal form.
Yeah.
And so all these simple notions of where you see the planes and the tactile quality of it, altogether it just makes a lot of sense. It's a bit more soulful and emotional.
Yeah. If you go to traditional,
looking.
If you go to traditional Chinese homes or buildings or openings in walls, you'll see that octagonal form as well as other forms like nature-based forms. So there's a subtlety to it. The other guys, Darc is the first to know, is this guy, which is much more aerodynamic, and it's of course is channeling the onyx material and has a kind of a more modern aesthetic to it.
I also feel that it's like blow up of the surface of the moon, so there's a distant cousin to it in terms of the visual character. I was thinking about downstairs, is beyond the pivoting of it. Let's say it's a glow, but you can tilt it for reading. The mood, it's like in your nightstand, it's just a glow, ambient. And then I thought, I was looking at it downstairs, I wonder if we can do it as a ceiling.
You want me to do it?
Yeah, so I thought this is cast. Cast, but maybe we could do it in wood, and then we can allow the this is a prototype. It could be really interesting on the ceiling. So we're gonna talk to them about that. So this is a prototype. Yep, we don't have a name for it quite yet. So you'll see the latest iteration probably in a year.
So this is a prototype. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Amazing. So we're talking about, it's inspired by traditional lanterns, and you was talking about, so these are the elements that are more given from your traditional sense. So why was it these elements that felt necessary to keep into a contemporary piece?
No, I think something. I think especially in a home or a place where everything, a fine home is about collecting things from all over the world. At least it is for us anyway. And it's a kind of natural piece that, yes, it feels like it was born in China, but it's growing up for the world to see and understand and be part of. It doesn't have to be in a Chinese setting per se.
I think a lot of these table lamps that you find too that are on the market, they're sort of they're just. Usually they're focused down, they have a little shade tint or a jet and it lights downward.
Boring.
But this glows all around like a full.
So this piece it's really interesting because it's beautiful, but also, I hope this doesn't sound the wrong way, but it doesn't demand attention. It's not that takes that space. So how does restraint, how is that important in your work?
I think if you look at many of the projects that we've done, and we're showing this here at Salone, this is intrinsic in who we are. We study things deeply, I think. It's not a flash in the pan idea, but it's a thoughtful idea. But we get the essence of things and we go into detail and we try to ensure that it has
context, relevance, and I think
but not style driven.
Because there's so much product out there, and a lot of them very good. But I think we got to pull back and not slow down the process of all this data flying at you, flipping your phones and looking at instant Pinterest and all that. And I hope we can contribute to something that people want to keep. It's a lot of, like in fashion, there's a lot of like throwaway entry level products and they said, oh, I like your lamp or I like your mug. And, oh, it's from, I'm not gonna say name, oh, it's from that thing. It's fine for now, but when I get myself going in my career and I'll have it replaced. Why do you have to replace something like that? This should be here. It's at an accessible price. It looks more like an entry-level product because of all the thought going into it. I have a feeling that this form, this shape from the past has legs altogether when it meets technology. So it should last forever. As long as an LED light diode can.
One of the notions of being green or being responsible is making things, because everything requires energy, is making things that have an intrinsic beauty to them, that are thoughtful, that you want to keep forever, regardless of what the price is. It's not about that. It's about the quality of what it gives you emotionally and what you see visually.
So it delivers a sense of permanence.
Yeah, it delivers permanence.
So where do you imagine this lamp being? Not just in a home. Could you describe like a moment?
I think it's like a torch that you carry in the dark. It's a thing, it's a piece along a pathway. You could see a series of them along a pathway right in our homecoming in Toronto, which is kind of dark and moody, or scattered in a lawn would be really beautiful. I can see many ways of using it. You could hang it, which would be nice too, to do a big hook towards it, hang it.
There's some practical things to it too. It's like, because this ring was detailed the last minute before we got the final prototype reviewed, and initially it was a base, a dish, and just that simple. You know what? So the clean lines, the simple outlines. Let's make it float off the disc, and I got rid of extra material to fabricate, less material, and also, as Ben said, it's an outdoor lantern. It can take the weather, but the fact that you're opening it in a ring, it can adjust itself on even terrain. That was the simple last detail, and the fact that it just floats, and initially it just sat on a dish, but the fact that it floats, it's like you see the moon.
You said earlier about these handcrafted elements. Could you explain into more detail what they are?
We're all tired of the machine made. We're all looking for something that feels of the hand, texture, and feels like it belongs. It feels crafted in a way. So of course, it's made by a machine, but it does feel like
versus, the longevity element that we're trying to. Yeah.
So that is a topic that's really important right now, this functional versus the... And
it's trying to take the necessary practicalities of, efficiency, energy efficiency, but I never had to worry about that in the past. It was just the romantic, soulful essence of light. And so we tried to merge practical technology and necessity of technology today with the romance of the past.
I think there's one other point. Is it's not that expensive, and there's a whole thing going on here. It's where the best products are the most expensive products. It's, to me, there's, like fashion, there'll be a day of reckoning, and I think we're proud to make objects that are designed and feel beautiful, that aren't expensive, that are more approachable for anyone.
Vintage clothing, really, really hot and in demand, because clothing is not made that well today, and so I don't think you'll go to vintage stores and you'll find, I don't want to say any particular brand, but there's a lot of fast fashion. You're not going to go there to a vintage store to seek out fast fashion there. So I was thinking about these celebrities, Hollywood celebrities, that are all like seeking vintage clothing. And there was a recent gala event in New York City, and what was reported on and the most coveted things, the celebrities were wearing vintage because it's so crafted so beautifully, and it's so coveted, and this shows, or their handlers or their PR people said, you got to go for people individuality, the qualities of those ateliers, and it's a juxtaposition of the accessibility of all this fashion that we see today.
And that's what you want to produce. You want people to look at this in like 20 years and be, that's a 2026.
Yeah. Let's still be relevant, little thing.
And back to what I was talking about functionality and the sculptural, because I was going to ask you what's more important, but this piece here, clearly you're trying to bridge that gap in between. Let's not make it a versus.
Design should not be folly, just folly. It should have a prescription of doing something. A chair should be sat on. It should be ergonomically correct, whatever that. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. It doesn't have to take center stage and not be functional. But we like the balance of both.
Yes. Well, it's just the simple notion that we all think that, we're multitasking today, which is, as we know by now, it's all, a myth or a construct. But this has a duality of purpose. It's a mood changer, atmosphere adjuster, but it's also a test light. So I think you don't have to have two lamps for those two purposes, interior space or exterior space.
Amazing. So we are at Moorgen, but I thought maybe we could touch on the Daiya while we're here. Am I saying that correctly?
Moorgen, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And it's described as a light, this light.
This is like
The Daiya.
that light with the crystal.
But we could just talk about it
that's
briefly.
a different light.
Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah.
Mother partner?
Yeah, he reached out to her and then reached.
Oh, yeah.
Should we talk about it? Should we?
Can I show
Yeah,
you?
let's
Can
do
I-
it.
Hold on, I'll show you.
We can get some pictures and edit them into the video.
I was going to say, on or off the record, the light is there's one challenging detail that I want to fix. I don't want to say what it is right now, but to get that duration, longevity of its appeal of a light fixture, you have to really highly resolve this issue. Otherwise, people will not covet it later on. So with patience, we said, let's not launch it. Padova and Yabu Pushelberg agreed, let's not launch it and make it perfect, and the timing is right, because next year is your Luce.
Okay, so we're going to see it in your Luce.
Yes.
But it
rather
is
than this
like
year.
cutting stone with very thin pieces of glass that are, some of them are mirrored and it reflects back on each other. But it's a beautiful, elegant surprise.
Yeah.
But there's that light. There's a few more beautiful. Can we talk about Louis Poulsen? You have to wait.
I dare you.
Louis Poulsen, wait till later this year.
Let's keep it on the day, seeing as we'll keep it on day. We'll just
That would be
stand-
news interview.
Oh, you could
Vivian.
maybe bring it up in a minute or two. It's up to you.
Vivian, Louis
Do we
Poulsen.
need
We're doing the
to
baby as well.
cut soon? Okay, so Daiya, it's described as naturally aligning to your approach to design. Could you just expand a little bit about that? I was just wondering with the phrasing, wouldn't every product naturally align with your approach to design?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Are very curious people, and that is a source of energy for us. Asking, what is Moorgen? What do you want to express? How can we help you? It has to align with our values in that. If there's a light that we feel that is unnecessary, we don't need, get it somewhere else. If we can't find it, then we'll do it for you. But seriously, it's what's curiosity that drives us to do these things. If you have no idea about how to cast glass, how to merge a cast glass object and put it into a technological lighting system, how do you give the silhouette of the historic past in the Asian context, but make it relevant to everybody around the world. Very complicated to us together.
I think if I could use two words to describe us, we're restrained exuberance. So sometimes we can move to be more restrained or more exuberant, depending on the context of who we're working with the product we're making.
It's purpose.
And that's how you would see the
Yes,
Daiya. It's mostly
We're within that restrained exuberance without being ridiculous. We're good to go.
Okay, so let's wrap up with a final question. So after Milan Design Week, hopefully things will be a bit quieter for you guys. Take a deep breath. How do you, I know, it's like maybe an overstatement.
Ready for next year, starting to think about next.
So after Milan Design Week, how do you know that a product, the design was really successful? What is it, the takeaways? How do you know it truly worked? Let's start with you, yeah?
Well, we will know right away because we do the post-mortem. Yeah. Typically what happens in terms of a schedule takes about a year to year and a half to conceptualize, to get enough for us to be, we're convinced that this has a purpose for a partner who's making it. Then you put the prototype to the 18-month period, and then you present it on stage at this incredible forum where the whole world who's interested in design is watching. That's where, after the show on presentation,